We should be seeing the end of year one report screen. Okay, so here we have a graphic showing you the report records or the report relationships, how you could drill down and see greater detail in your reports. So for instance, report 3.9, course sections completed, count by content area for departmentalized courses would drill down into 3.10, which also happens to be an aggregate report. You see the color indicated here. Course sections completed count and details for departmentalized courses. So the count 3.9 is a simple count. This is a count and provides details about the course information. And then to see the students who completed these departmentalized courses, you would drill down into a supporting report, course sections completed, student list for departmentalized courses. And so that's generally the breakdown. This information is also in the user manual. When you look at the report mapping guides, if you look at 3.9, it will tell you that this report is linked to 310. 310 will show you that it is linked to 311 as well. This is a simple image to help you make sense of your reports, right? You always want to look at the detail reports. You see in the title, it says student list, or details for departmentalized courses. It helps you investigate and reconcile your counts. In terms of the CCI, if you want to know why some students don't show up or appear not to be counted, or you want to verify that you are going to count the students, see the students enrolled, make sure that they are in the right college courses or the non-standard instructional level for that CTE course is populated at 23 or 24, the students enrolled, and you can see the students' grades. So that's why the report relationships are valuable. You won't find all the information you need on a single report. All right, so here's a view of report 3.9, course sections completed count by content area for departmentalized courses. Again, for end of year, we're only looking at departmentalized courses. So again, the content is the state course code, right? And then you'll have the count breakdown of gender. It's important to note that we didn't mention the requirement of submitting the student information, but there's not a report collection for any submission that the ethnicity, that the gender isn't important. So the student information is just as important as any other file. All right. And then we have 3.10. So you can see the difference when we say course count and details. This is a very succinct report, right? You have 12 columns. And then this is the same report with the course details and expands out to 31 columns. Ultimately, you can see the count here, males, females, non-binary. Same over here, right? You have a count of courses as well, but you have all the details. And so when you're looking at, of course, you can see that if it's a college credit course indicated by the non-standard instructional level code that's there, you have the state course code for the content area. Again, if it says college credit or if it's a CTE course, if you're trying to identify high quality CTE courses, it will be indicated as well. So your different course elements and attributes are in this report, along with the count of students receiving credit for completing that course. And then when you're looking at your CTE data, we mentioned that we'd come back to this. By default, the CTE course, a high quality indicator, is a Y. If you don't report that you have high quality courses, again, that the CTE course, is taught by a CTE credential teacher, you might not show your CTE courses here. You have to either toggle the indicator yes or no, or both. But you want to be aware of this indicator here when you're looking at your course section reports. And then again, if you're only looking for college courses, you can filter for the non-standard instructional level codes and your state course code. Remember, your college state course codes have specific numbers. So you can filter for your CTE courses and your college courses only if that's what you're looking for. And then report 3.11, drilling all the way down, you have your course sections completed student list. You can see the individual students by name, the teacher associated with the course, and then the final grades for each course. So When we're saying a student needs to have a C or better in the course, you can see that listed. It's kind of broken up, but you see the student name, their gender, grade, their credits, final grade. And so the details of 3.11 support 3.10 and 3.9. So, like I said, there's not a single report that provides all the information you need, but the detailed reports help you. All right, then report 3.14, this is a CTE report. It's your participants count. And so it's just a count of all those students that have taken a CTE course, and it has their subgroup if they belong in one of the subgroups that is identified in reporting. And then, when you're looking at your CTE data, you want to identify your 12th graders and if they are completers and if they're reported as completers. You want to see if you have a high quality CTE course, and you want to verify your subgroup counts for your CTE participants and completers. And kind of example of doing that here. And then you have your core indicators for CTE, right? High profile student groups. So those students that are with disability, those who are economically disadvantaged, right? That's the term used for Carl Perkins and those who qualify for that. Your single parents, the pregnant and parenting program reported in end of year 2 identifies students that are single parents in terms of Carl Perkins. I want to be specific. The term single parents is used by Carl Perkins. It means students, right? We're not looking for students that are the product of single parents. We're talking about unmarried students who are parenting. So it can be male or female students that are in K through 12, right? They're either a pregnant or a parenting student if they're a female or, of course, a father. And then a non-traditional gender, a gender less commonly associated with a field. So traditionally, nurse is a female dominated field, right? All the male students in a nursing CTE program would be non-traditional gender. Likewise, construction, automotive working, or male dominated fields. As you see in this image, you have a young lady welding. She would be non-traditional gender. So that information is taken as well. And then report 3.15 CTE non-completer participants. This is the student list. So you can identify the students individually, verify that they are being counted. In particular, if you have a student who is a completer and they're being counted as a non-completer participant, you want to check the state course code and make sure it's mapped correctly. They should have a capstone course. Perhaps it's coded wrong and they're not being, or perhaps it was never reported. Maybe you only reported semester 1 courses and not semester 2. 3.16 educational options course completed. So these are the educational option courses reported. And you can see there's only about 6: independent study, distance learning, courses with Partnership Academy, AVID courses, and IB courses. So independent courses have an independent study indicator. Distance learning have an indicator as well. AVID courses and IB courses are through state course code, and courses in the California Partnership Academy, I believe that's identified with the program record. And then we have 3.19 CTE completers count by pathway. Right, so this is high profile because it's Carl Perkins. It goes to the dashboard. It'll be on the cohort. You want to accurately report all your CTE completers. That's going to be through the SCTE file, and you want to verify those counts on your report. And I'm pausing here. I'm trying to be very deliberate because for the last 2 years, I've had LEAs that I work with, competent people who fail to report their completers. One such inquiry was in fall 2 when they were doing the survey, and they couldn't verify that the students they were surveying as CTE completers had previous completer records, and that generated a new validation. And then this year, the validation triggered for LEA I was helping, who had not, again, they had survey results for CTE completers, but they had not reported them. And so, I just want to make sure that I emphasize that you have to report your CTE completers. You have to be very deliberate, and it's a full replacement file. So you want to verify your reports. You definitely want to review 3.19, look at your counts, and then most importantly, look at 3.20 and account for all your students, right? You have a big district, filter the report before you run it by school, give it to the CTA program director, give it to the principal. The counts is what we certify, but the student list is the detail. If a student is missing, they might identify a missing name. Or when the count is off, you give them the list of students and they can identify the missing student. It's very important. And so want to make sure that we get it right. And then on to work-based learning. We have the different work-based learning types and the count of students who you are reporting has completed that work-based learning for the year. And then we have the student details. So you have the count of all the different students. In the primer course, we had a couple slides that tell you how to collect this information, how to plan for it, try to organize your curriculum to maximize the work-based learning opportunities. That was preparation for end of year, and end of year, you're reporting it. So you just want to make sure that you get those subject matter experts involved. Work-based learning comes from CTE, it comes from STEM, it can come from special education. There are no limitations, so there could be various different curriculum and coursework that students are participating in work-based learning. There's student programs on campus. Sometimes the traditional student store can be changed into a work-based learning type program with curriculum supported by coursework. So you want to make sure that you account for all the work-based learning.
You have completed this module. Please continue to the next video. Thank you.